This is the story of a runway carved into the side of a Himalayan mountain, where planes land uphill, take off into a cliff's edge, and go-arounds are physically impossible. For more than 20 years, Lukla Airport's Tenzing-Hillary Airport, VNLK, in Nepal has held the title of the most dangerous airport on Earth, a designation featured prominently on History Channel's Most Extreme Airports. But whether that title is truly deserved is a question worth examining. Lukla Airport sits at an elevation of 9,334 feet, surrounded on all sides by peaks as high as 23,000 feet. Its single runway is just 527 meters long, roughly a third the length of a standard commercial runway, and it slopes upward at a punishing 11.7% gradient. One end terminates in a solid rock wall carved into the mountainside. The other end drops away into a sheer valley. There's no room for hesitation, no room for second guessing, and critically, no room for a go-around. Once a pilot commits to landing here, they land. That is not a guideline. It is a law of physics. The airport exists because of one man's determination to give back to a community that gave him everything. In 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing-Hillary Sherpa became the first people confirmed to reach the summit of Mount Everest. In the years that followed, Hillary dedicated much of his life to building schools and hospitals for the Sherpa people of the Khumbu region within Sagarmatha National Park. But getting supplies into this remote corner of Nepal was brutally difficult. Everything had to be carried in on foot along narrow mountain trails. So in 1964, Hillary decided to build an airport. He originally planned to construct it on flat farmland, but local farmers refused to give up their crops. So the airport was built in its current location, on a narrow shelf of mountain terrain that would make most aviation engineers walk away. Hillary purchased the land from local Sherpas for $2,650. And here's one of my favorite details from this entire story. It has been said that Hillary was dissatisfied with the compaction of the runway soil. His solution was to buy local liquor for the Sherpas and ask them to perform a traditional foot-stomping dance to flatten the ground. Whether that story is entirely true, the runway held. But the airport didn't actually begin operations until 1971. And remarkably, the runway wasn't even paved until 2001. For 3 decades, pilots were landing on a dirt strip in one of the most unforgiving environments on the planet. In January 2008, the airport was renamed Tenzing-Hillary Airport, honoring both men who made Everest's first ascent possible. Now, what makes landing here so uniquely terrifying comes down to a combination of factors that, taken individually, are challenging but manageable. Taken together, they create something extraordinary, even among other extreme high-altitude airports like Paro Airport in Bhutan. Lukla stands apart. First, the weather. Lukla operates exclusively under visual flight rules. There is no radar, no ILS, instrument landing system, and no sophisticated navigation aids. Pilots must be able to see the runway to land. During the monsoon season, visibility problems close the airport 50% of the time. Even outside monsoon season, the wind patterns are treacherous. In the early morning, wind typically comes from the northeast. But as the sun heats the mountain slopes, a strong southwest wind develops, creating dangerous crosswinds, tailwinds, and severe wind shear. The airport regularly shuts down by mid to late morning because of this. It is not uncommon for flights to be grounded 3 to 4 days in a row. Second, there are no runway lights, which means no night operations. Every flight must happen during a narrow window of daylight hours with acceptable visibility. Third, and most critically, the approach itself. Pilot Upendra Singh described it simply. The entire flight is a snaking route in between high mountains. The aircraft threads through a valley, making sharp turns to align with the runway at the last moment. The surrounding terrain brings strong and varying wind shear. And if something goes wrong on a short final, there is nowhere to go. No go-around procedure exists because the terrain makes one impossible. Because of all this, the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal imposes some of the strictest pilot requirements of any airport in the world. Only pilots who have completed at least 100 short takeoff and landing missions, have over 1 year of STOL experience in Nepal, and have completed 10 supervised flights into Lukla with a certified instructor are permitted to land here. The aircraft themselves are limited to helicopters and small STOL planes, like the de Havilland Canada DHC-6, Twin Otter, and the Dornier 228. Despite these precautions, Lukla has seen its share of tragedy. According to the Aviation Safety Network, 56 people have died in accidents involving aircraft either arriving at or departing from Lukla. On October 2008, Yeti Airlines Flight 101, a Twin Otter carrying passengers from Kathmandu, crashed on final approach, killing 18 people. The captain was the only survivor. In 2017, a Summit Air turboprop hit trees short of the runway, killing both pilots. And in April 2019, a plane veered off the runway during takeoff and struck a parked helicopter, killing 3 people. That was the last fatal accident at Lukla. But here is where the story gets more nuanced. Is Lukla actually as dangerous as its reputation suggests? The airport handled nearly 70,000 flights in 2023. Fatal accidents occur roughly once per 50,000 flights. There has been only one fatal commercial crash in the last 20 years. The strict pilot requirements, the conservative weather minimums, the limits on aircraft types, these are not vulnerabilities. They are risk-reducing measures. A more accurate description might be that Lukla is a high-consequence environment, not necessarily an unsafe one. The margin for error is razor thin, but the systems in place are designed to keep operations within that margin. Today, Lukla is evolving. Since April 2019, the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal has directed airlines to operate Lukla flights from Rameshap Airport instead of Kathmandu to reduce congestion. The flight from Rameshap takes just 12 minutes compared to 35 from the capital. Helicopter transfers have become an increasingly popular alternative, taking 40 to 45 minutes from Kathmandu and offering more reliability when weather grounds fixed-wing aircraft. By 2025, domestic helicopter services carried over 51,000 passengers. In late 2024, a single day saw 184 flights into the region, including more than 150 helicopter operations. The airport that Edmund Hillary built for $2,650 on Stomped Down Earth now processes up to 150,000 passengers annually. Every one of them is heading toward the same thing that drew Hillary there in the first place: the highest point on Earth. John Krakauer once wrote that Everest has always been a magnet for kooks, publicity seekers, hopeless romantics, and others with a shaky hold on reality. Maybe so. But getting there requires passing through a place where reality is inescapable, where the mountain is close enough to touch from your window seat, where the runway tilts upward into a wall of stone, and where the pilot has already decided, long before you see the ground rushing up, that there is only one way this ends. You land, or you don't fly at all. That is Lukla, not the most dangerous airport in the world, but almost certainly the most unforgiving.